Welcome to AlecAD's Inventor web series, and today we're going to talk about how do you work with large assemblies in Inventor. So, large assemblies can have so many parts that they become difficult to handle. There are many techniques that can be employed to help with this, and we're going to review some of those and we're going to demonstrate them. So, some of those techniques are going to be assembly structure. We're going to be using organizing our assemblies into like groups to have a better handle on these. In this case, floors, columns, tanks, equipment. Organizing these things into groups. Skeletal modeling. Use of a file to lay out or organize other files, that is. And in that case, we'll show you that in just a minute. Derived component. It's a feature within Inventor that allows you to associatively reuse items from another part or an assembly. Basically allows you to reuse some information from one or another. It's usually used in conjunction with skeletal modeling and a couple other techniques. There's also a technique called grounded only, and those where parts or assemblies that have no assembly constraints are grounded to 0, 0, 0. Thus avoiding having to have assembly constraints. And we're also going to talk a little bit about level of details and how they play into this. Using assembly structure, this 187 part assembly is only 2 parts big. You'll see down here in the bottom it's only showing 2 parts, but there's 187 parts in here. Well, 2 parts is a lot easier to work with than 187. The 2 parts are building and the equipment. And the techniques we used for here are derived components and grounded only parts. And we're also going to talk about skeletal modeling. Here on the left hand side you'll see just lines, circles that represent the floors in the appropriate location, the stairwell in the appropriate location, the equipment locations, and the tank locations. And all that's used to lay out where the equipment and everything will go. And in doing that, it'll be associative back to it, so if the layout and the skeletal model and the layout changes, our assembly will change as well. Okay, so let's see how we're going to do this. I'm going to start by showing you the skeleton model. And what you'll see with the skeleton model is, here is a part file with a series of sketches and planes. And what I've done is, there is a sketch for each floor. First floor, second floor, third floor. There is a sketch for the south wall, the north wall, and there are planes for each floor. So now one thing you'll notice is there's a top and bottom plane to each floor. This allows me to quickly and easily control the thickness of the floors and their heights. So how can you use all this? Well, I can take this skeletal model and bring this information in to the part that I'm going to create, such as the floor, and use that information, and it will be associative. So the first thing I want to do is, since I'm going to start with the first floor, so I'm going to make sure my first floor planes are visible, my floor is visible, and I'm going to go create a new part. Okay, I'm not going to sketch just yet, because what I want to do is use the manage and go get the derive. And I'm going to go get my plant skeleton. So my plant skeleton needs to be thought out ahead of time. So now what do I want to bring in? Well, with the sketches, I want the first floor, but I don't need the second and the third floor, so I'll just turn those to gray. And on the work geometry, I do want the 2 planes. So I'm only bringing in the information that I need for the part that I'm creating. There it is. All I have left to do now is extrude. I've already done all the heavy lifting. I've already created all my sketch. Okay. There we go. And I'm going to extrude I'm going to extrude from the bottom plane excuse me, to the top plane. That's already predefined based on my sketch. There it is. I'll just come up here and expand this and turn the visibility off. There's first floor. It's done. I'm going to save, and I'm going to call this first floor. I'll just call it demo just because that's where we're at. Now, let's go create second and third floor real fast. Same technique. Start a new part, finish the sketch, manage. Oops, I forgot something. Come back over to my skeleton model. I need to make sure that my other planes are visible. So there it is. Let's come back over to part 3. Derive it in. And skeleton model. If those work planes aren't visible, I won't have access to bring them in. So I just have to make sure they're visible. Turn off the first floor, turn off the third floor. And yes, extrude this. And I want to leave that hole because that's the hole for where the pipes are coming through. And I want to leave that hole because that's where the tube's coming through. And from that plane to that plane. Turn them off. Okay. And we'll save this as second floor demo. And we'll go ahead and create the third floor. And I'm doing this because I want to put all this stuff together so you can see how it's all going to work. Finish, manage, derive. I did it again. I forgot to go back and turn the correct planes on, or I won't have access to them. There we go. Third floor is on. Sorry about that. Derive. Plant skeleton. I don't need first or second floor sketches. I do need the third floor top and bottom plane. Notice of all the planes, it's only showing here, again, like I said, the ones that are visible. Okay. Go to my model tab, extrude this, and we'll go ahead and fill in all these little places here. And I can fill that in, that in. And I think I can fill that one in. If I messed up, I can always fix it, correct? Distance is from 2. Okay. And we'll turn these guys off. And we'll save this as third floor demo. Okay. So, really fast, I've got 3 floors. 1, 2, 3. Now I need to put them together. I'm going to create an assembly. Just your standard assembly. And I can go quickly grab floors 1, 2, and 3 and place them in. Now, let's go back to my plant skeleton for just a second. Now, I'm going to leave the top plane on just for visibility on each one of these, just so you can get an idea. You can see these are clearly at 3 different levels. And when I created them in those parts, they were created at that level. So down here, I don't see it just yet, over here is 0, 0, 0. There it is right here in this corner over here. So I'll put my corner over here at 0, 0, 0. Well, that means that the height of the decking is up to here, So when I created those parts, they were already at the correct heights. Interesting, isn't it? So that when I come over here to my assembly, if I take each one of these and select properties and go over to occurrence, notice that one's already set at 0, 0, 0, 0 and it's grounded. That was the first one brought in. Well, if I bring all the rest of these properties and change the offset to 0, 0, 0 and ground them, you'll see that they'll all line up. 0, 0, 0, ground it, okay. How about that? No assembly constraints, everything is where it belongs, everything lines up, and I've quickly created my assembly.